Now, let's talk about the Middle East. And there are growing fears that if world powers are unable to quickly reach a new agreement with the Iranian regime over its nuclear program, then a military confrontation is almost inevitable. There are reports that the US and Israel are coordinating a major strike against Iran. And it all depends on if whether Tehran will come to the negotiating table. Douglas, Iran denies it's seeking nuclear weapons, but Western powers know well that the nuclear program is just a disguised effort to develop a bomb, an atomic bomb, and the Iranian regime is crazy enough to actually use it.
Yes, I mean, as the Iranian revolutionary government's pretense that it's simply seeking weapons-grade uranium in order to build a civilian nuclear energy facility is something that nobody but an apologist for the regime could possibly agree with. It's been trying to get a nuclear bomb for many years now. The only reason that it hasn't is because of significant, largely covert action taken against them that has slowed that weapons program down. If the crazy Iranian mullahs in Tehran actually ever did get a weapon, the world would be, the Middle East and then the wider world would be in an incredibly perilous situation, the most dangerous situation we've been in since 1945, because nobody knows how you do nuclear détente, that is, nuclear deterrence, against an end times Khomeinist ideologue regime like that, which has been oppressing Iran for the last 40-something years. It's an incredibly dangerous corner. It's been a corner that we've been at for many years. One of the remarkable things, many remarkable things, that the Shiite extremists in Tehran have been doing just in recent days has been that members of that so-called government have been threatening the United States, with Iranian retaliation, if the Americans don't do what they want. Clearly, the Revolutionary Islamic government in Iran thinks it holds the cards here, but nobody could really say it does. But if people love the rhetoric that comes out of Tehran and has been coming out of Tehran since 1979, if they love the rhetoric that comes out of it at the moment, the death to America, death to the infidels stuff, they'll love how the Revolutionary Islamic government in Tehran behaves if it ever had a nuclear bomb.
Well, you just do not know what they are capable of. You look at how they have oppressed and brutalized their own population, as you've said, for more than 40 years since the Islamic Revolution. And that is one regime that if they had the bomb, they may well use it. Let's go to the UK now and the bizarre influence of a Netflix series. This Netflix series seems to be setting government policy. Keir Starmer released this 2-minute video announcing that the series Adolescence would be free in secondary schools across the UK. And Douglas, Labor is using this drama, and it is a drama about young men being radicalised online, to help it formulate policy.
It's an extraordinary thing. Keir Starmer has been labouring under the misapprehension that the Netflix series Adolescence is in fact a documentary. It's true that it's filmed rather documentary style, but you'd have to be pretty idiotic to think that's what it is. It could have just been a slip of the tongue by Keir Starmer. What's not a slip of the tongue is treating it as if this semi-interesting, very well-acted series is the sort of thing you should announce government policy on the back of. I mean, here's a really strange thing about this. Keir Starmer and other British politicians trying to leap on a sort of Netflix binge bandwagon have been behaving as if we have an epidemic in the UK of 13-year-old white boys stabbing girls because of Andrew Tate videos they've seen online. And I don't know what fantasy world they live in. There are all sorts of concerns people should have about online content and young people's access to it. There are all sorts of concerns people should have about certain online influencers pushing very, very ugly ideas about women and misleading them in the early and formative years of their lives. But the thing that everyone has just ignored is the fact that that isn't an epidemic in the UK. The UK, by the way, is very good at sort of moral panics about things that don't exist. About, 12 years ago, we had the moral panic led by people like LBC in London, that a secret cabal of prominent military and political chiefs had been getting together for years to rape and mutilate and murder children. And guess what? It turned out not to be true. It turned out that one person who was himself subsequently convicted of paedophile offences had made it all up. But the British media and indeed parliamentarians went for it. They went into this massive moral panic. Are our generals and former cabinet ministers a secret paedophile cabal? Britain is very used to this sort of thing in the modern era, it seems. It's uniquely vulnerable to it. But here's a challenge to Netflix and indeed to Keir Starmer. We do have an epidemic of knife crime in the UK, and we have an epidemic of it in the capital city of London. And, if you look at the knife crime statistics in London in recent years, you see a very alarming thing indeed. Black on black young gang violence in the capital city of the UK has been an actual epidemic in recent years. The majority of knife crime committed in London is committed by young black men. Now, the black community in London is around 13% of the population, but they have consistently in recent years represented 50 to more than 60% of people committing knife crimes. And guess who the largest number of people are who are on the receiving ends of those knives and machetes? Other young black men. That's a real epidemic, and it's a real problem. It's something that's actually going on. But I bet we could hold our breath for the moment that Netflix will decide to address that, and we'll have to hold our breath until the Prime Minister addresses it, because neither the Prime Minister nor the highly distracted Mayor of London, Sadiq Khan, have done anything to address this. They don't even care to talk about it. There will be no Netflix documentary that Starmer or Khan can say that people should watch in British schools about black on black gang violence, because it's a real thing. It'll never get made, and they'll continue to cover it up.
Absolutely. Or perhaps a Netflix series on young men being radicalised by Islamists. We've had several stabbings because of that, allegedly. We've got one before the courts right now. And also the entire grooming gang scandal. I mean, where's the Netflix series on that? These are real epidemics that have occurred in the UK, and they're ignored. And supposedly, 13-year-old white boys are a danger to the nation. Before you go, I've got to ask you about Prince Harry. His charity Centre Bali is in turmoil. The Duke of Sussex stepped away from the charity last week as the head of the foundation accused him of harassment and bullying at scale. And Douglas, you won't be shocked to learn that a lot of the turmoil is supposedly due to Meghan. Harry reportedly sent an angry message to the charity head because she had refused to defend Meghan Markle following these embarrassing scenes at a charity polo match in April 2024. This is not a good look for Prince Harry, is it?
I mean, nothing says down to earth more than a row over a polo tournament. It's very ugly, I have to say, because as somebody observed today in the Spectator magazine, most of these Harry Meghan scandals are sort of a scandal that occurs or something very unwise that occurs and it just sort of diminishes over time. Unfortunately, the charity from Lesotho, who Prince Harry was involved with, very nobly to have done so, everything we've actually found out about the breakdown of relationships between him and his own charity, it just gets worse and worse. And all of the information that's coming out from that charity, of the people in Africa who've actually been involved with it, is more and more concerning. There is one upside, of course, to the prince, the Duke, and indeed his Duchess, which is that if the bad news keeps on coming out, at least they've got Meghan's latest invention to console them. Because I don't know if you've noticed, Rita, but Meghan has not been silent in recent times. She's been working on something, a totally new thing, and it's called jam.
Really?
And she is selling jam. And it seems to be, in her view, almost the first time that anyone's made jam. And you can buy Meghan jam, and it's apparently absolutely delicious, according to Meghan. And so if the dire media stories continue, at least the Sussexes can console themselves with a lovely pot of original jam that's definitely made with Meghan's own hands.
Yes, that's really how we're going to solve world peace, I think, one jam jar at a time. Douglas Murray, thank you so much for your time tonight.
Thank you.